Hello and welcome to another episode of Telling Everybody Everything. I've come out to the podcast studio. My Louis Vuitton sliders are in the garden. Who was wearing them? Not a fox, crucially. In this house, you leave something in the garden for 5 minutes and it is eaten by a fox. So they have spared me. Bobby has erected a pop-up tent in the garden, which I know people can't believe. I put it on my socials. I came out of this. I'm in the podcast studio actually a lot because I'm just doing final edits on my book, Firstborn Daughter, which you can pre-order worldwide. They ship worldwide, I'm told, through Waterstones or probably loads of other places, but I'm doing some signed copies and a lot of stuff with the wonderful Waterstones. So I'm putting final edits on that. I really have little else to do for the next 2 weeks. It's so relaxing. But I am spending a lot of time in this podcast studio / gym / office. And when I come out, there's like something new to discover. So it was a pop-up tent the other day. And I put on my socials like, what the fuck, Bobby? And a lot of people very concerned, as I am, about his grass. But then, you know, this is why I love social media. And I love when you email into Telling Everybody Everything. And I love the engagement and the conversation that we have because people are diagnosing Bobby. They're like, okay, this is what he does. He loves tending to the lawn so much. He needs a purpose in going out there and like messing with the lawn, watering the lawn. We did not have a hose pipe ban, though I think just starting today, Thames Water has issued one. He needs to be reseeding the lawn. He needs to be aerating the lawn. He needs to be like, what is the one? Scarifying the lawn? That's it. And so he's got this beautiful green grass. He's passive-aggressively posting photos of the lawn from the top floor where you can kind of see the neighbor's brown, crusty, dusty lawn. No disrespect to the neighbor. I think they're away on holiday, or I hope they are. Or they're just observing, you know, the hosepipe recommendations, which Bobby is for the most part, but you know what I mean? I digress. He's doing like purposely sabotaging his own grass so that there can be a square of brown that then he needs to like furrow his brow and be like, oh, babe, I've got to fix this brown. And then like come out to the garden and do his magic to make it green again. And you know what? I wish he would, but monetized. Like get this garden account, Bobby. He's just such like wasted opportunity. People love the soothing before and after. I love it. It's why I watch like tweezing videos. It's why I watch pimple popping videos. I watch the pool guy, like the actual pool guy. If you don't follow that account, he's got millions of followers on TikTok and he is our actual pool guy. Miles, he does like before and afters of like a really dirty jacuzzi and then it looks beautiful, or a super messy swimming pool with leaves. And then he'll do chemicals and crystals and hoover the bottom. I think women especially, and maybe men, I don't know. I love that I always separate us. Who knows how their brains work? But I know that my friends and I love a soothing before and after. Like something was a problem and then that problem was fixed. And if that can happen in a 90-second Instagram reel, perfect. 30 seconds, even better. Bobby needs to be doing these things. You know what I might do? And maybe I shouldn't because he will absolutely rage. I might contact a landscaping person because the side of the garden by the fence isn't grass. It's like a bed of like dirt and sticks. And maybe this is not possible because the trees are just like shedding so many sticks. But I would love to have someone come in and put like nice soil down and do flowers or vegetables or something in the sides that aren't grass. Bobby hates an English garden. He hates the way you guys will be like, look at my garden. And you go out there and it's like bees and foliage and flowers. He doesn't like that. He just wants like a football field, lovely green garden. And that's what he has. But the sides, I could do what I like with the sides. I have fucked up my nose. So if you're watching the episode last week, if you're listening to the episode, you won't be able to see it, but there may be some evidence on my socials. Last week, I was complaining that I'd had many ailments. It's just been a very strange time. I think a more spiritual person would say Mercury's in retrograde and try to blame that. I feel that I should have good karma in my life. I've been a good person. Apart from, yes, I did a segment sort of criticizing, I didn't believe it was a criticism, sort of criticizing Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's $26 million donation to charities that matched, I believe, maybe matched or probably didn't even match the cost of their wedding. And I needed to look into how much money that actually was, because I think we lose sight of how rich billionaires actually are. And look, I have a lot of money. I'm very lucky. I pay so much tax. I wish so much that I could tell you how much tax I pay, because you would be like, what? That sounds like more than you earned, Katherine. I'd be like, yeah, but somehow it's not. But I suppose it does mean I'm earning a lot of money. So it feels like a humble brag if I tell you how much tax I pay. I think it's just public information online, because I have the most honest financial advisor and accountant in the world. I have to claim everything I pay. I just can't tell you. In January, I paid more tax than I ever thought I would earn in my life. And now in July, I have to pay half that amount of tax again. And that is like corporation tax, personal tax, VAT. Like I just pay so much tax, which if it was going to the services it was meant to go to, and if everyone paid that much tax proportionately, we would not need charities. That's my whole point. Taylor Swift is a very generous person. She pays like bonuses and she's always doing charitable things, but she's still a 2-time billionaire. Oh, but Katherine, a lot of that is in, music ownership and it's not cash. All right. I just think there are people in a certain echelon of wealth that you have to just look at it once in a while and go, okay, that's very generous. The charities would love to receive $26 million. Great. But how much is that to a billionaire? I just wanted to know. And I got the math wrong anyway, but people are pissed. So maybe because of that, like the Swifties are also like getting to an age where they're into witchcraft and crystals and, because that's what happens. The Swifties get older and they start into their white woman nonsense. They start manifesting. They start getting a voodoo doll. And I think someone somewhere has done that. And I will be honest with you, again, if you're watching the podcast in a visual medium, the bathrobe's not helping. I'm wearing a dressing gown that I thought was cool when I bought it. I actually still think it's cool. It's kind of Japanese quilted kimono. I got it on Etsy from a small business and I wore it in the hospital. Well, I meant to wear it in the hospital, but I didn't stay long when Holland was born. I wore it when I got home and I just love putting it on. I feel like it's quite like 60s, 70s to be like, I'm a fancy lady and I'm going to wear my fancy lady house coat is what we call it in Canada. House coat. We don't say dressing gown or night robe or whatever the hell. Bathrobe? Sometimes we say bathrobe, but I think house coat. And it really is quilted and it's like a coat. But I have a busted up nose because of the voodoo, the Swiftie voodoo. And I was walking out to the podcast studio today in this house coat with a plate and a sandwich in one hand, a fucking Red Bull in the other. Now that they're doing flavors, I'm really into Red Bull. So I think the original Red Bull is stigmatized. Like the original blue can, especially now they've started doing XL. Like who's drinking that? You wouldn't drink a Monster energy drink to save your life unless you were like 16 going to a rave. That is trash. I wish I'd had, normal clothes, like maybe a coffee, but no. House coat, grapefruit Red Bull, which is the purple one, which is sugar-free and so delicious. Here it is right here. Again, if you're watching as a visual medium, this is not an ad, but like it makes it kind of acceptable. Grapefruit and blossom, energy drink, vitalizes body and mind. Like it's cute. It's still got the bull on it, which is masculine. But yeah, due to Violet's poor influence, I've started drinking these purple Red Bulls. I even ordered some in the Ocado shop and I've got them in the fridge, the wine fridge. But I'm drinking no wine. I'm like out here, less wine. I'm out here and I've got this busted up nose and it just the whole thing, walking past a pop-up tent, broken nose, house coat Red Bull, sandwich in the one hand because I've got a nice gluten-free bread and I'm into these thick tomato sandwiches now with like butter and salt and pepper and mayonnaise. And if my mother's not looking, like a little slice of deli ham, which I know is a group 1 carcinogen, and like an entire beef tomato. Anyway. Last week, after I recorded the podcast saying I've got all these ailments, I have athlete's foot, which is now gone. It's resolved. I have no nails because writing the book, I'm like picking and biting my nails and you have to have short nails to type quickly. It's like 60,000 words. I'm making all these edits. My toenails are like no gel on them because of the athlete's foot. So I'm like natural, busted looking. My extensions are out. My actual hair is not only like ginger at the minute, but has fallen out because I'm 9 months into breastfeeding. And I just saw this wonderful video by this creator, Mama Dinya, and she's everyone's favorite midwife. She's a great content creator. If you can follow her, you should. She's so funny, and I've just been acquainted with her in a weird way, actually. But nevertheless, now I'm acquainted with her. She's so funny. She was explaining that you have lots of estrogen in pregnancy, and then when the baby's born, the estrogen drops, and all this hair that you've built up in the longer growth phase just falls out. And we know this, but it's still just difficult to take. I also had an eye infection or a sty or something happened. I got sunscreen in my eye. I don't know. So as I'm complaining about all this, the very night that I published the podcast, I have a room that used to be a bedroom. And then I got wonderful Taylor Bespoke, a great company. I think this gentleman might be Louisa Zisman's cousin, but I got to know him through Louisa using him in her beautiful home. And he's done some incredible work in our home. But Taylor Bespoke revitalized and renovated this one bedroom next to the primary bedroom and put integrated sliding glass door closets and a little island in the middle with loads of storage. I just have a beautiful wardrobe room. They did this years ago. But the room it's back to back on my room, and then between my bedroom and the wardrobe room is a sliding glass door. I'm trying to get to this sliding glass door, and Fred at the minute, kids do reach an age that they just need to go to school, and we tried to be kind and gentle to Fred because he is a very sensitive soul, and he's a young 5. He just turned 5, but he's going into year 1, which he just seems too small for. But he's on the grid now. He has to go 5 days a week starting September. And we tried to be kind about that. We sent him to reception 4 days a week, 3 days a week at the start. They were very understanding about that because he was not yet 5. They could not yet make him go 5 days a week. And now that he's been home for the summer, he's gone full boy, full Andrew Tate. If you don't mind me going off on another tangent, though, how funny are all the videos about Andrew and Tristan Tate's most recent arrest? They have been extradited from the U.S. by the UK to face charges of who the fuck knows? Racketeering, human trafficking, trigger warning, sexual assault, something in that vein, transporting vulnerable women for sex trafficking. I don't know. They're facing some charges. But when they're arrested, this is supposed to be the manliest man. I'm the guy. I'm the man. And yes, when I first saw Andrew Tate's videos, I was like, oh, what's the problem with this guy? Because I saw some innocuous video where he was talking about questioning authority. I thought, yeah, great. Then I realized he's potentially into sex trafficking. Not great. The more I learned about him, the less I wanted to know. But when he was arrested in the U.S., I hope it was Miami because of this outfit. He had a low cut, aubergine, shiny, deep purple shirt, like a women's Zara shirt by the looks of it. And the posts about it are so funny, doing side by side shop the look. Grace Campbell, I think, has the funniest video rating his arrest looks because he's been arrested so many times. Has he ever actually been convicted and imprisoned? Not yet. We'll see. But he always just comes for the fashion. When he's arrested, he's going to make a splash. And he was wearing capri pants, these teeny, tight, very feminine capri pants, and then a Gucci loafer or something, some type of brogue. No, it was a loafer, wasn't it? He just looked like such a fucking idiot. And glasses, these aviator Ray-Bans and a necklace. So funny. That is the Halloween costume of 2026. Jonathan Ross, revamp your Halloween party. I'm coming as Andrew Tate. My nipples will be out. Will I have had my breast reduction by then? No, sadly not. And you know what? I was walking down the high street the other day and I could see in a shop window my boobs were kind of bouncing along. And I am not thin. I'm not fat, but I've got bigger legs, a big bum. Even my middle is not as thin as it once was because I keep weight on breastfeeding. A lot of people are breastfeeding makes me skinny. No, when I'm actively breastfeeding, I'm so hungry and I do keep some weight on. That's what I've learned with all the babies. And then when I stop, I get super skinny, super fast. And everybody goes, are you on Ozempic? No, but I'm thinking about microdosing now that I'm over 40 just for the anti-inflammatory effects. And I saw my boobs in the shop window and I was like, maybe I don't want a breast reduction. I think I need one because someone with an autoimmune disease shouldn't really have breast implants. It's a foreign body, but I don't know. I'm going to speak to Dr. Rhodes and I'm going to see if he can harvest fat. And like, I think Khloe Kardashian has had that. I think she's had some fat put into her breast tissue. Is that dangerous? Does that make it harder to spot any type of inconsistency in a mammogram? Don't know. We'll look it up. So it was the end of the evening. Bobby and I have been trying very hard to watch a film called The Town, starring Ben Affleck and some others. And it takes us many weeks to watch a film because we get the kids to bed, we tidy up, and then we've got like 30 minutes left to chat, to make food, to watch something, and then we have to go to bed. We have to go to bed because we've got full days and everybody wakes up at 5. Specifically, definitely Holland. So I can't stay up past 9:30, 10 o'clock. I just can't. And so the end of the evening was nigh, and I said, Bobby, I can no longer watch The Town. We've got 40 minutes left, by the way. It's taken us like 2 weeks. I said, I'm going to go upstairs and make sure all the windows are closed. Now, Bobby and I had a conversation the other day about a soft life, because when I get up against it with work, that's when I start to turn around and criticize Bobby and be like, what are you doing to give me a soft life? Like, I think you're supposed to be giving me a soft life. From everything I read, like I listen to the Slumflower, like I'm fine working because it just so happens that I get paid too much to do the career that I love. So like, I'm very happy to do that. And Bobby is so tidy and he cooks and he's such a lovely, engaged, playful, athletic, soft, strong father. He's like, great. He's good chat. He's good banter. But I'm nudging him to start this podcast idea that I have. And I'm just starting to think like, I need a soft life because I have all these ailments. And one of the jobs I'm not supposed to do is the man stuff of like going upstairs to check the perimeter before bed. And we have to close all the windows because we were robbed in late 2019. And that was for a stupid reason. We kept all the windows open. It was a beautiful evening. We didn't think that someone could be like gymnastically talented enough to climb to the first floor and come in our window. Fine. So now we shut and lock every window. We have 2 different alarms that we set. Good luck breaking in through our windows. So I go upstairs and the alarm's already set, but I'm like turning it off. I'm shutting the windows. Fine. I shut the first window in my wardrobe room. I go into there first. And on the subject of Fred, I was saying, Fred, one of the things he's doing while he's like stir crazy at home in the summer is he's fucking with the doors. And I'm like, do not touch any doors. You can see where this is going. A lot of you are ahead of me. You see my broken nose. You know there's a sliding glass door. I've told the story upside down and backwards and inside out. But that's because I've had the grapefruit Red Bull. Follow me. Those of you with ADHD, you know what I'm talking about. Not that I'm diagnosed, but we have a lot of things in common in terms of storytelling. So Fred's been shutting doors, opening doors, like taking it upon himself to open the sliding glass doors outside, which like are hard to open, but I keep telling him, you cannot be messing with doors. Doors, like you'll hurt your feet. And he did cut his foot on the bottom of like a door stopper. I said, you could hurt your feet, hurt your fingers. You could smash someone else's fingers. There's also the bit of the door that's not the closing bit, but the hinge. God help you if you get someone's fingers stuck in that, namely Fenna's or Holland's. Like, do not touch any door. There's no reason for anyone under the age of 10 in my house to touch a door ever. Don't close the door. Don't open a door. Don't play with the door. Don't swing on the door. Don't fuck with the doors. And he continues to do so. So this is out of my mind. I'm not even thinking about Fred's like recent door obsession. I closed the first window and it was dark. I didn't want to turn on any lights. I know where I'm going. And I presumably at pace, I very swiftly walked toward the open window in my bedroom and I slammed. I didn't even know what happened, by the way, but all of a sudden, like, boom, something hits me in the face. I sort of continued to walk a bit. And then like sort of in slow motion, I realized that I have walked into the sliding glass door. It hasn't shattered. It has remained attached to its like top hinge, but the bottom, this is probably what saved me. The bottom is just like free standing. So the sliding glass door that they built is like attached at the top on a hinge, and then it's just like hanging there, and it skims the carpet. It comes right down to the bottom, but it is not attached on the bottom. Yeah, thank God. So it kind of opens like a cat flap, and I'm confused. My face hurts, and I also knocked a lamp off my bedside table in that whole like melee. So I step back, the door, the cat flap shuts back down. I realize, oh, there's a glass door right ahead of me. I've like smashed into that. I slide it open. I walk through it properly, kind of in a daze. And I think, oh, that hurts. And I felt underneath my nose, and I couldn't feel anything like dripping. So I was like, oh, okay. I suppose I'm fine. My nose isn't bleeding. And then I walked from there into the ensuite after closing the window, which was my priority. Still got the job done before checking my nose. I go and look in the mirror, and my nose was like swollen right away, cut in 2 places. And even Bobby's like, how did your nose get cut? I don't know. Just like with the force, my nose like split on the bridge a bit. And it was bleeding, but not from the nostrils, it was like just bleeding on the bridge. And I looked in the mirror and I went, I don't know how this is going to go. Am I going to get black eyes from this? Is my nose broken? And the bridge does hurt. I mean, thankfully I have a very strong kind of like Roman bridge that I hate. Lots of people think I've had a nose job, but I haven't. I would not have chosen this nose. Maybe now I can get one. But I was touching the bridge, feeling it. I don't think anything feels like wibbly wobbly. I don't think it's actually broken. I think it just sort of shocked the cartilage. Maybe I'll have a scar on the skin from the split. I don't know. So I walked downstairs and I said, out of sight, I was coming around the corner. I said, Bobby, did you hear that? And he went, yeah, I thought maybe it was a burglar. You thought maybe it was a burglar. Where's my soft life? Like, why are you not running up the steps then? He was making the milks for the children who still drink milk at night. Don't get me started. And he's like, I just listened for a minute and then I knew it wasn't a burglar. And then as he said that, I came around the corner and he saw my nose. He was like, what did you do? And he was very helpful in putting ice on it. But also he was not helpful. I don't want to sound like I'm coming down too hard on my husband. I love my husband. His heart was in the right place. It's not his fault that I went upstairs to shut the windows and that I slammed into the door. But then he goes, oh, we've got to put a plaster on it. You got to get some ice. And then he prepared me an ice bag. But I already had a little gel ice from the facelift pack. So I put that on my nose. And as I did that, he was preparing the plaster. And he came out with the plaster totally unwrapped, his dirty thumb on the sterile white bit of the plaster on the inside. And in his other hand, he had the wrong ointment. And like, I take time to curate all of the right medicines, children's medicines, ointments. Every trip to Canada, I visit this beautiful pharmacy called Shoppers Drug Mart where they have absolutely everything. It's like a Shangri-La. It used to be like a French pharmacy when I was growing up, and now it's like a Walmart. Like they have snacks and food and toys and stationery and things, but also like the tip-top choice. It makes a Boots look like an airport super drug. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to British pharmacies, but this Shoppers Drug Mart has everything. And we have drugs that you can't get here. We give kids melatonin to go to sleep. We have beautiful cough syrups. Our night nurse, NyQuil, like actually pulls you to sleep like a sexy seductress. And we have all the best ointments. We have ointment for your eyes. We have something called polysporin, which is like Sudocrem, but it isn't. Sudocrem's white. It's for nappy rash. It has a host of other uses, but it's not as strong or as varied as polysporin. So I have many different polysporins. I have an ointment for eyes. I have like a triple antibiotic ointment for cuts. I also have some that have anesthetic in them. So if you put it on a cut, you can't feel it. Like you really can't. I put that polysporin on my lips one time by accident. I didn't know it was the anesthetic one. And I was like, couldn't feel my lips. So he could have got that one, but instead he got me the polysporin that was for eczema. That one has hydrocortisone in it, which is a steroid, a topical steroid. I didn't want to put that on my nose. So right away I'm like, put that filthy Band-Aid down, and that is the wrong polysporin. Poor Bobby. Like, good luck taking care of a firstborn daughter. And all of this goes in the book, and all of it is not his fault. But yeah, so I split my nose, I hurt my nose, all because my son Fred, who's been told time and time again not to fuck with the fucking doors, at some point during bedtime decided to slide shut the glass door partition that separates my wardrobe room from my primary bedroom. And I said to him in the morning, like, hey, Fred, look what happened to my nose. He goes, oh, well, your nose is turning black, because it was bruised by then. And I said, why did you shut the sliding glass door in my room? And he thinks he's funny. He said, well, I did that because I was trying to kill you. Great. I had a shower during the break, and I realized I forgot to tell you that I went to Cannes, as I think the French pronounce it, or Cannes. There were a lot of Americans there. I went a month ago, and I don't know why this like completely passed me by. I have very little to report on the podcast these days, so that would have been something. But I suppose I blocked it out of my memory because I was such a disappointment. So I learned that Cannes have many festivals. There is the International Film Festival, and that's probably the most widely known. They have a TV festival. They have an advertising festival. They have a pornography festival, which a waiter told me is the most tame of all the festivals. I think they sell the most champagne during that one, but there's the least amount of trouble. I don't know who lives in Cannes. I don't know if like the wait staff, if it's like an island. Like I had a girlfriend who worked in the Cayman Islands seasonally, and cruise ships would come in, and the cruise ship people were always so stupid. They'd be like, do you live here? And she was like, yeah, I live here. Like, what do you think? I come in on a cruise ship and I just work for like a weekend and then I go back. I live here seasonally. But Cannes, we couldn't even stay there. We had to stay 30 minutes away just because it was so busy during the festival. I suppose my understanding, like what I could compare it to, is the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, where, yes, of course, Edinburgh is an amazing, bustling city. But if you live in Edinburgh, then during the month of August, when it gets crazy, you charge extortionate rates and you rent out your flat and you leave for the month of August. It's kind of genius. Like, I don't know why I don't do that. I would love to live in Edinburgh, but I suppose like things pop up. Like already this week, I was meant to be home and I've got to go into London tomorrow and the next day for things. And then Violet might want to be taken to a show tonight, and I have an event Thursday night. And this is Bobby's point. He's like, yes, you are busy. I'll be like, look, Bobby, look at the wide open diary. And he's like, you will put something in that diary and we will have to go to it. I did cancel on an event even before I broke my nose, though I don't think it's officially broken, but you know, for like brevity, I'm calling it a broken nose, and drama. I was invited, and this is related to Cannes, by the way. I was invited to Olivia Atwood's very intimate dinner launch for her new line of Tatty strip lashes. And actually, Tatty lashes is the reason I didn't make the event, one of many reasons. But you know, my hair's falling out, all the aforementioned stuff. My nails are crazy. My feet are crazy. I was like, I can't go to this event with like one of the hottest babes in show business. And I do. I put Olivia Atwood and Maya Jama in a very specific category of like British starlet because they're in their 30s. They are largely unattached. You know, they're dating here and there, but neither one is currently married. Neither currently has a child. And I just think that it is so feminist, so boundary breaking to see women achieving on a scale like that. And like really the only thing that could stand in their way is choosing the wrong partner. It really is. Choosing the wrong man, because both of these women are unfortunately heteronormative. I don't think they're going to do it. They're both smart and independent, and I don't see it going this way, but that's the only thing that derails a woman at this stage. You know, if she decided like, oh, I'm going to get with him, and then he wasn't supportive or he became jealous of her fame or whatever. And like, I think Olivia Atwood maybe had a little brush with that. Maya Jama doesn't have a podcast, therefore she holds her cards closer to her chest when it comes to relationships. But I imagine men she's been with are jealous of her as well. Why wouldn't they be? Like, it could be very threatening to an otherwise alpha male to be with the kind of woman who's fun, who has lots of friends, who makes her own money, and whom everyone wants to be around. So I had to cancel the Tatty Lash event. I'm going to another Olivia Atwood event with Bobby Thursday, God willing, for the launch of another brand that she's got, which is Savano Hot Honey Margaritas, Moscow Mules. I've got some in the fridge. I haven't tried one yet because I'm trying to be good for the book. But both these women are firstborn daughters, by the way, and they are featured in my book, which you can pre-order now. Comes out October 22nd. I was getting ready. I had the kids all day. Like, this is the thing with evening events. I am tired, But my mother was in town. My stepfather, Abe the Babe, was in town. We were doing a lot of entertaining. My mom has actually been brilliant on this visit. She's gone home now, but they have so much energy for like older people. Abe's not like chronologically old, but he's an old soul. But they kept getting in the pool. They kept running and playing and carrying these kids. Just like Fred and Fenna love them so much, which I'm happy to see, because you never know when family live abroad, like, are they going to go to their grandparents? But they did. Holland did not, but that's to be expected of an 8, nearly 9-month-old. She's 9 months now. But we'd spent the day entertaining, basically, and it was hot. It was that heat wave. I'd actually been to the pharmacy and got like stick-on toenails and like press-on nails because I can't commit to gels at the minute. And I started getting ready in Violet's room at 5 p.m. I needed to be out the door at 6 p.m. For a television event, I would have someone come and do the glam, Fiona, whomever, but on this occasion, I was just going to support a friend. So I was like, I'll do my own glam. I've got a little wiglet that I wear on tour, which is sort of like hair extensions, but it's like 1 3/4 piece, and just the little top of your hair like sits above it and makes it look quite natural. But I hadn't left enough time to do also the press-on nails and these tatty lashes. So when I was buying the nails, I saw tatty lashes. I'm like, I'm going to a tatty lash event. I'm going to get these individual pre-stuck, which is crazy to me. I've never used lashes that, the young people stick them on from underneath and they are like pre-glued. That's wild to me. Like, I do it the old-fashioned way, if I do it at all. I have long eyelashes, so I don't normally need individuals or a strip lash. But if I do, I put glue on and I stick it to the top. I feel like sticking eyelashes under your natural lash is a recipe for disaster, especially if you sleep in them, which a lot of these young girls do. The lashes that I bought were not Olivia Atwood's line of tatty lashes. They were just like a different tatty lash, but I thought I'm going to be on brand. Just like when I went to Emily Attak's Agent Provocateur launch wearing my pants. That did not go well. The tatty lash attempt did not go well. My makeup was beautiful. My makeup was perfect. Some people do eyes first. I do eyes last. My base is amazing. My nose wasn't broken. And I started sticking on these lashes and it just went all the fuck wrong. Tits up completely. I don't know how to do that. That frustrated me. My mascara started clumping. I had to use Violet's micellar water. I was in her room, micellar, and I was trying to slide the mascara off my eyes to start again. People have asked me what mascara I use. None all summer, but when I use mascara, my favorite now is Swede, Sweed. That's a great makeup company. They have so many beautiful products. But on this occasion, it was in a different bag. I was trying to get ready in a hurry. I used some other mascara that was in my bag and, mixed with the pre-stuck underneath lashes that I had tried for the first time. It just went all wrong. And I was like, okay, you can't show up to a lash event with fucked up lashes. So I did it over and over. It kept going wrong. Then everything else just descended into hell from there. I started sticking on the toenails. The glue was like cement and it was getting stuck all over my fingers. So I basically super glued my hands to my feet. I've never done press on toenails before. I felt just like such a loser and so disgusted with myself that I had to do it anyway because of this athlete's foot situation and not having gel pedicure. So that was sending me into a meltdown. When you freak out and you're just like, oh, okay, I'm in a rage cycle here and I'm not going to be able to get ready. I knew that to get all the cement glue off my hands and off my feet, I was going to have to go downstairs, risk the children seeing me, risk Holland crying, upsetting Bobby because he's trying to hold the fort down, get my acetone, remove it all. I couldn't do that. So now my hands and my feet are fucked up. I tried to put on the wiglet. That was kind of going okay, but now I didn't have time to curl it. I was already running late, and you don't want to be late to a dinner. You could be late to any kind of lunch, but not a sit-down dinner. And then I thought, all right, this place is an hour away. I'm sort of ready. I wasn't happy with the way that I looked. These women are a lot more glamorous than I am. These women are a lot younger than I am. I was sure that there would be sexy little influencers with their legs out. My legs are fat and bruised. And then I tried to call the Uber, and for some reason, my Uber app was just showing me electric, courier, and pet. And it was spinning and spinning and wouldn't assign one to me. And again, that was God's plan. That was Jesus taking the wheel and being like, you can't go to the ball. Bitch, take off your wig. And I did. I texted my agent right away. I said, can you please let them know I'm so sorry I'm not attending this dinner. I'm in a rage spiral and I can't get out of the house. And it was a wonderful feeling, taking my wig off, putting my own kids to bed. And, some evenings it's just not meant to be, which brings me to Cannes. I went there as part of the advertising festival as a guest of Bauer Media, who produce my other podcast, What's My Age Again, the one where we test celebrities' biological age, and then we interview them and talk about all the things in their lives that would maybe lead them to have a high or low biological age. Inflammation, you know what I mean? Stress, career, relationships. It's a great series headed up by Lucy Cave. You know Lucy Cave. She has been a celebrity journalist at Heat for a number of years, but also you've seen her on camera. She's on Lorraine a lot of the time, talking about this, that, celebrity fashion, whatever. When we used to do a lot of those talking head shows, Lucy Cave was on those. She's just like the one for celebrity news and journalism, fashion, beauty, culture, all of it. And she produces or executive produces. I'm not sure what her exact title is. She's not even at all the records because she's got her fingers in many pies. But she's the boss, essentially. And so I was invited to Cannes to do a talk with her. And we met at the airport. And by the way, I was feeling weird about this trip from the start because I booked it in months ago. And I always think that I'm going to be in a better position than I actually am with the kids. I'm like, oh, well, Holland will be 8 months old. I can absolutely go. 8 months old rolls around and she has loads of separation anxiety. And I have separation anxiety. I knew it was going to be hard to spend a night away from her in France. But I was like, I could do this. Bobby was supportive. He's like, you deserve this. Go have fun with Lucy. See you tomorrow. So we go to City Airport. London City Airport, 10 out of 10 review. Not a lot of shops, don't need them. A streamlined experience, quick through security. I had a fabulous flat white served to me by a very friendly barista. And there were 3 baristas at his little coffee, section. I won't call it a full shop. And they were having lovely chats with each other. It's just like a good atmosphere. Great before flight. And when I sat down with Lucy in the airport, we met up with a few other ladies who were going to this conference, Cannes Festival. They were all talking. They all knew each other. Lucy was like, oh, yeah, the last time I went to Cannes was with Olivia Attwood for this exact event. And I was like, oh, God, because I know she would have had fun. And if you look at Lucy Cave's social media, you will see her on yachts. You will see her in Saint-Tropez. You will see her with Olivia. You'll see her having fun. And she's got kids. But how come I'm not fun? And I knew I was never going to be able to bring the same level of heat, party, good times vibes as Olivia Attwood. It was not possible. And a year ago, what was going on in Olivia's life a year ago? It would have been like a very interesting time. You're going this time with Katherine Ryan, breastfeeding, pumping on the plane, having 2 glasses of rosé and going to bed. And I was quite disappointed in myself. So we landed in Nice, and I thought we'd be staying in Cannes, where I had stayed once before long ago, actually twice before I've been there. But no. We had a hotel 30 minutes Uber outside the city, kind of between Cannes and the airport in Nice. And that kind of put a damper on all my plans because I thought I would be able to walk around. I thought I would be able to go to Louis Vuitton and Chanel and Gucci and do some luxury browsing, not shopping. I never actually am able to buy something that expensive in a shop. It has to be like a late night, dodgy online purchase. And then it shows up and Bobby looks at the box and I act surprised. Like, oh, another gift from Louis Vuitton? That's how I have to do it. But I was staying in this random town, a boating town, where the only shops that they had were for yacht staff. So what is it called? It's not the Riviera. It's just La Côte d'Azur. Is that what it is? There were lots of yachts coming through there and shops to get your uniform to be somebody's yacht bitch below deck. And I got a gelato and I walked around and it was just nothing for me. So that was fine. I bought some salami and cheese and a bottle of wine from a shop, even though I only had 1 glass before it was time to go to our talk. So all the girls got ready in the hotel. Not a great hotel, not a terrible hotel. And we took a cab together, a pre-booked vehicle by firstborn daughter Lucy Cave to Cannes. And I met loads of amazing people from brands and ad agencies and from Bauer Media. And Lucy and I gave our talk. We watched a few other talks. And then they announced that there would be a 2-hour break before dinner. And I was like, what? 2 hours before dinner? Because now it's evening. They're like, dinner, the place doesn't even open till 8 p.m. I was like, oh, it was my plan to have dinner following the talk at 6 p.m. be in bed, do my little Irish exit, and be asleep by 8 p.m. I brought melatonin with me. I was going to return to London the next day totally refreshed. So in this 2 hours, I think what someone like Olivia Attwood would do is like command the attention of the entire bar and like drink on the beach during that time. But I had my little walk around and I just reminisced about times when Violet was little and we were in Cannes and we had nothing, but we had each other and it was a wonderful time. And I just walked silently. Some people did recognize me because they were from the UK. A lot of Americans, a lot of just like, ugh. I understand the European like opinion about Americans. You are terrible ambassadors for each other abroad. Even like the high-flying exec agents, you're like, let's go down to Gucci. Just horrible to listen to. So that's why when I'm abroad, I keep my American accent mouth shut. So I finally made it to the dinner. I finally like walked. I lasted the 2 hours of just browsing, which was lovely, to be honest with you. And when we got there, it was not a dinner at all. I forget what the place was called. It had like one name, like Boducci or something. And there were so many ad people, and advertising people are mental. Like Bauer Media, I think they're the cream of the crop. Them aside, people from other like agencies, they've worked in music, they've worked in advertising, marketing, whatever. They've had these hedonistic careers, and they were like foaming at the mouth to get into this bar. They were like, yeah, we're going to have a big one. Like I would not be surprised if there was cocaine floating around this place. Again, not at the hands of Bauer Media executives, but like just other strangers I didn't know had to queue up for dinner. And there was house music already coming from what I understood to be a restaurant. And I met up with the team, and it's very difficult to travel in a huge pack. And I thought this was maybe an intimate dinner of like 5, 6. No, it was like 30 people for dinner. And when we met up outside, it was like pandemonium. I'm like, all right, who's the leader here? Who's going to queue? Who's going to get us to our table? And there was like a guy on the door who let us all in eventually. And when we went through, it was the type of place where you could not have a conversation. It was too loud. They just would bring like boats of random sushi and drinks, and people would be swinging from the rooftops by the end of the night. And I just thought, no. I didn't even sit at the table. I was too scared. This feeling of panic came over me, and I just turned on my heels. And this is not good networking. Like, this is why. I just don't have it. I just turned around and I walked out of that place. And I thought, oh, I won't be noticed. It's dark. It's loud. There are so many people for dinner. Like, I never would have done that if it was like in an actual restaurant with a few people. But this was like a club. I thought no one's going to notice. But right away, before I'd even got in the car, Lucy texted me. She's like, someone said they saw you leaving. I was like, fuck. But yeah, I left. I went back to the hotel. I think I tried to listen to a podcast. I did some skincare and I went to bed. And I just hope Lucy's not regretting her choice. Like, imagine going to Cannes with Olivia Attwood one year and going the next year with TV's Katherine Ryan. Tucked up in bed, 8 p.m., just like I always planned. Let's see if Andrew Johnston, comedian extraordinaire, content creator, yoga enthusiast, gay. Let's see if he has more exciting news from Hollywood.
80s Aryan action hero Dolph Lundgren is back in the news for a clip from a podcast appearance making the rounds and hitting a nerve. The Swiss Mister opened up about his marriage to first wife Annette Kvigberg and the tacit agreement they had. Pardon my Swiss accent. I was on location and she didn't want to come with me. She assumed I was cheating, which he was. And the more I cheated, the more she wanted to spend my money, to the tune of her racking up $60,000 a month in credit card bills in 1990s money. He joked that it was effectively a, quote, cheating fee, allowing him to, quote, have affairs in peace. Worth noting, the debt became so unsustainable that not even his action star income could keep pace with it, and he was very free to philander in peace after the two split in 2011. Is this Swiss bliss or a Swiss diss?
I saw this on social media, and I instantly tagged Chidera Igaru, the Slumflower, who has many works. I mean, let me see. What of her works? Time to Be Alone is her, What a Time to Be Alone is her 2018 book, built on the idea that women routinely underprice themselves in relationships and mistake being tolerated for being valued. And now she's in her Women Don't Hate Men Enough era of commentary. I feel like she calls out women's compliance more, or their complicity in these arrangements more than men's behavior. So it's sort of, the question is like, different strokes for different folks. That would not work in my relationship. But I think a lot of women who choose to be decorations for a famous philandering man, wags, for example, I think that this is an unwritten arrangement in many relationships. And for some, it works. They're just like, all right, you're going to do what you're going to do. Don't publicly embarrass me. And as long as I have everything that I need at home, I'm willing to look the other way. That would never be okay with me. But I have also liked, and this must be from the Slumflower podcast as well, I think it is, where, yeah, it is. It's where if she caught someone cheating, she'd be like, all right, well, I'm never going to talk to you again unless there's 20 grand in my bank account. Like, and then I'll hear you out. I do like assigning monetary value to their behavior. Like, it is a concept that really escapes me. It's too far fetched from my own life to even wrap my head around, but there are conversations about it. And I think it is more about women understanding their own value. And the fact is, men are the ones who put value on, like, pussy, for example, if you want to take it to that type of language. But I've also heard someone say, like, how would you feel if you were leaving the club? They said this to a man. It must have been a viral video. They said, how would you feel? It was Dave Chappelle. It's a Dave Chappelle bit where he goes, if I was leaving the club and everyone knew I got paid like 50 grand cash. This is when he started like moving up and stand up. He's like, everyone else leaving that club knew that I had $50,000 on me and I felt scared. And for the first time, I realized what it felt like to be a woman, because a woman's walking around every day with something that's like very valuable to men. And I think that's where I got the word pussy from. I think that's what he says in the bit. But anyway, yeah, like if this man is going to go around treating women as though they're disposable, not being monogamous in his marriage, he wants to have these like transactional relationships with women, then sure, he should pay his wife $60,000 1990s dollars.
Bad news for any and all pervs who tune into women's sports for the express purpose of scoping out sweaty cracks and crevasses. The European Broadcast Union released new guidelines for camera angles covering female athletes in the hopes to avoid unnecessary sexualization. Focusing on high jump, pole vault, horizontal jump, and track and/or field events, the recommendations encourage directors to emphasize athletic performance over body shots, discouraging low-angle shots, tight zooms, and framing below the waist. Critics of these guidelines, aka spandex fetishists, who might have to pay for it after getting it for free all these years, argue that athletic uniforms are already revealing because they're designed for performance and cameras are already showing the event. Whereas, insofar as the EBU is concerned, the issue isn't that athletes wear revealing uniforms, it's that directors sometimes choose lingering close-ups, low-angle shots from underneath, or gratuitous slow-motion replays that add nothing to understanding the sport and can easily be clipped and shared out of context. What say you? Does this come with the territory of wearing spandex for a living?
All the stuff that we take for granted now, we'll look back on and say, like, how did we ever let directors zoom in on a woman's spandexed crotch when she was doing the high jump or whatever? I don't know the names of sports. I don't watch women's sports. I don't know about this. But yeah, like, it's kind of the same thing as paparazzi upskirting people, not just like creeps doing it in a mall escalator, but these photographs were published in magazines, and the way we would talk about women's bodies was nuts. But at the time, it just felt normal. And now, thanks to Gina Martin and others, there's a law against upskirting. So yeah, like, leave it to pervs to ruin a good thing for everyone. Now you can't change the uniforms. That's right. It makes like aerodynamic and whatever else about sports, but you absolutely can film them from an angle that doesn't give you a little labia surprise. It's so difficult avoiding kinks because there are freaks out there, like, not to kink shame, but to kink shame, who are just going to have a kink for everything.
Although women are certainly disproportionately objectified in these and, well, any circumstances, in the spirit of what's being good for the goose also being good for the gander, who could forget the French pole vaulter whose pole vaulted his dreams at the 2024 Olympics that we've discussed at length on this very podcast? If the camera cropped that out, we'd be missing important context on top of an iconic, sexy sports blooper.
Andrew, I have watched that clip again and again and again and again, and I don't think it was a gratuitous camera angle. I think like that man's huge dick just got in the way and knocked down the thing. And you would have been able to see that from space.
More like eye role model. Gen Z pop phenom role model, real name Tucker Pillsbury, revealed on Jake Shane's Therapist podcast that his ideal family situation is being a single girl dad. Quote, "My dream is always to be a single father and to have a daughter, and to raise a daughter by myself would be really fun. Even picking out a name. Winnie." After rudely realizing that he doesn't have a uterus to materialize in this daughter, that must have been quite a shock. Here's his plan. Quote, "I want a daughter that's ideally mine, and then I thank whoever had it for me. Maybe I give them a Venmo, America's Monzo. I pay them, shake their hand." The singer also added that the person who carried the child could see her, quote, "once a year if you want," but then backtracked, wondering if that would be, quote, "destructive for the kid." As for why this appeals to 29-year-old role model who's rumored to be dating Dakota Johnson, quote, "I just want to raise a child by myself because then you can kind of just like mold them into be your best friend. I just think that'd be really fun." Worth noting, he did not say what would happen if that child were a boy. Guess he'll cross that bridge if and when he gets to it. Katherine, we have established here on Telling Everybody Everything there is nothing more chic than to be the single mother of a single daughter. Same for dads? Why or why not?
Okay, I've actually thought a lot about this because in The Duchess, which I wrote and started and produced and is on Netflix, I obviously have to take some responsibility for the theme of that show. The entire plot line was a single mother who'd been burned in relationships before, had given up entirely on the traditional shape of a family, and even though she still fancied and loved men and had a boyfriend, she was like, ugh, I know how this ends. I'm just going to cut that out and raise a child on my own. However, she had considered the father's input quite a lot. She thought, even though I despise my existing child's father, if I have a child, then that child will have a relationship with him. If I have it with him again, there'll be a biological sibling of my existing child. The relationship with my existing child is something I recognize as okay with her dad. Like a lot of consideration. That character put a lot of consideration into the child, into the future of what that child's experience would be. She was just trying to cut out harm, not just for herself, but for the future child, for the future partner from whom she would eventually be estranged from in her mind, blah, 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 blah. Like she'd put a lot of thinking towards it. And like some things are so nuanced that there have been two camps on this. Like some are outraged. Some think it's really creepy. Some are like, well, yeah, why not be a single dad? He's joking. Like people are taking it too far. He's just kind of throwing around an idea. And I think that sometimes words from an interview come across as sinister and you don't even know why. I did find it sinister. I found it sinister that this 29-year-old man was sat there talking about hiring a surrogate, molding this child into his best friend, even admitting to himself that it might be destructive for the child. I feel like that is a very different claim from I want to parent alone. I feel like what role model said reads as wanting a designed relationship and treating a woman's reproductive labor as the input and a compliant, moldable daughter as the output, because he specified that it had to be a daughter, right? And then he reduced the actual mother to a thank you note. So I think people who had an issue with this, they weren't trying to reframe solo dads as being bad, which obviously they're not. There are dads who become single parents through death, divorce, choice, and the data on kids raised by single parents from any gender. It doesn't show catastrophe. It shows outcomes that track much more closely with resources, stability, and the quality of parent-child bond than with the parent's gender or marital status. I did not appreciate his framing where the woman's only role is production and the goal is a child who's engineered to be your best friend rather than her own person. It feels like this old idea that women are useful for gestation and for decoration afterwards, and that a father's authority over his daughter is cleaner without a mother around to contradict it or complicate it. He's been linked to Dakota Johnson, who's like, by all accounts, absolutely amazing. This interview would end my relationship. Even if he was joking, like, I don't care. I don't get the joke. I don't know. I've never heard of this guy before in my life anyway. But he would never hear from me again.
Prominent manfluencers and alleged international fugitives, the Tate brothers, 39-year-old Andrew and 38-year-old Tristan, sidebar, who knew that the Tate brothers were Irish twins, what a twist, were arrested in Miami over the weekend in connection with new criminal charges of SA and ST trafficking in England. Prosecutors in Britain say that they were seeking the brothers' extradition. The Tates, who have both British and American citizenship, were detained pending ongoing legal proceedings, according to a statement from police in Bedfordshire, a county north of London. The new charges stem from alleged offenses involving 4 women that took place between 2010 and 2017, when the Tate brothers were residents and citizens of the UK. British prosecutors said the new charges against Andrew Tate include 7 counts of sounds like grape, 3 counts of sounds like hex racketing, 3 counts of sounds like pass the salt, and 19 more charges relating to very evil things found on a computer's hard drive. Tristan faces 2 new charges of sounds like grape, 1 count of sounds like textual pass the salt, and 3 counts of sounds like Tex-Mex bracketing. This is on top of a litany of charges they were already facing in Romania that they thought they were impugned from by virtue of the fact that they managed to escape to Florida. And it's worth noting that Andrew Tate's latest arrest outfit looked like a plum button-up top and a natty pair of trousers from belated Canadian retailer Le Chateau that had been shrunk in the wash. The American and apparently Romanian justice system has apparently failed to prosecute these 2. Does this arrest and extradition request give you some British pride?
I love it. And I thought it would be nice to just end on something positive. Thank you for listening. Please look after each other. Order my new book, pre-order rather, Firstborn Daughter, if you want to. It always helps the author to do pre-orders. And if you would like to see me doing stand-up with my friends in just 2 weeks, I'll be in London at the Camden Roundhouse, August 3rd with Judy Love, Lou Sanders, Michelle DeSwart, Jack Skipper. See you soon. And thank you to Andrew Johnston, that is at Mandrew Bronston on Instagram, for his ever entertaining news items from Hollywood.